Everybody. Let's get this all recording. Woohoo! Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Trisha Dyka of The Happy Empath. And today I'm really excited to be talking to Evelyn Betances. And we're going to be talking about combating the saboteur. And this is all about mindset and reframing our mindsets. And I'm really excited to be chatting with you today. So welcome, and please share about yourself and what led you to this.
Thank you so much for having me. Just a little context for you guys that are watching or listening. Trisha and I did a podcast recording, which is, out there soon in the atmosphere. And now the tables are turned. She's going to be questioning me. But to give you some context on who I am, as she mentioned, my name is Evelyn Betances, and I am a mindset transformation coach. I am certified and accredited as a mindset coach in several areas, not just that. And the reason I became a coach is because, like some coaches, folks would approach me for advice. They would seek to ask questions. They would seek input. Even strangers who had no idea who I was as a person on the street, at Target, what have you. And then I had feedback from family, colleagues, and friends telling me, hey, you should be a therapist. You should be a counselor. You should be a psychologist. And for a long time, I struggled against that. And eventually, 2 years ago, I made the official transition, got certified in different modalities. And here I am, mindset coach.
Well, it's so cool because as a mindset coach, and I know we've spoken about Joe Dispenza and creating new neurotransmitters and new neural pathways in our brain, and it is so possible. It's I guess letting go of that fear, moving forward, gaining clarity, overcoming emotions, yet dealing with them. So I'm excited to hit all of these topics. And on top of that, I know for myself, my mind, I needed to clean up my mindset in the biggest way. So when I hit my issue 10 years ago with, realizing I was an empath, my mind had a field day with me. So I love that you help boost confidence and you help handle all of these things. And when you say combat the saboteur, what do you mean by that?
So combat the saboteur really is this inner self that you have. You can call it the voice, you can call it the mind, you can think of it as the little cricket in a Pinocchio who is on your shoulder, constantly whispering things to you. But essentially, is an inherent voice that we all carry that more often than not focuses on the negative and limits you from living a good life.
Oh yeah, that little voice. I call it the monkey mind chatter that just starts going. And if you're not in the right frame of mind, and this has happened to me even recently, I go straight down that little rabbit hole to hell and I'll sit there. However, I have definitely learned, we are on that track and I need to break this pattern quickly. Because nothing down there is going to help me, and nothing down there is going to, be beneficial for me at all.
Yeah, so that's the difference between, the average Joe and a coach, right? So there are individuals like us who are in a field that are educating others so they can make better decisions. We have that awareness and we have the tools and resources so that when these things come up, we're able to address them. Obviously we're human, we can fall into patterns, but we're able to get ourselves out of that quickly. The average person who is maybe more limited in their awareness will not. They'll continue these negative cycles, and that'll continue to negatively impact several areas of their lives, whether it's their work, whether it's their relationships, whether it's how they engage and interact in the world.
Yeah, it's true. It's funny. I as you were saying that, I flashed back to, a period of my life where I was reactive. I was so used to responding in a certain way that I kept responding that way and reacting. And it wasn't until, for me, it was kind of like I had enough of being myself that I was like, yo, I'm so sick of myself. It's not even funny here. Like, what do I need to do? I mean, what do you find with people? Where is their tipping point where they finally said, I've had enough of this crap. I need to do something to change.
Well, it depends on the situation, right? Some folks have a catalyst that comes along through the anxiety they experience and how they engage. Some folks have a catalyst that is based on a relationship, right? Something they have with another person, not necessarily romantic, but that relationship has brought an awareness where, okay, I have to make a shift. Or it could be something with their finances, where they're just tired of where they are financially, of wanting to achieve these lofty goals. And so they're like, hey, what I've done in the past hasn't worked. For all these folks, what I've done in the past hasn't worked. Something has to change. And that moment is their catalyst that will then allow them to shift to now pursue working on the mindset or imposter syndrome or confidence or fear of moving forward.
Yeah, imposter syndrome is for real. It really is. I know even to this day, it'll start to creep up and it'll be like, for real,
Well, it's there for everyone, regardless of how educated you are. And I find, and don't come for me, folks, but I find that the more knowledgeable you are, the more educated you are, the more you're climbing in terms of your aspirations, the more imposter syndrome presents itself. And keep in mind, imposter syndrome is tied to that inherent voice that we all have.
Yeah, it's true. The more you're learning, the more you're implementing, the more you're moving forward outside of that comfort zone. It seems like, bam, it's there. And it's like, oh no, I don't really want to play with you today. But it's true. The more, and I will go back to Joe Dispenza because I really do follow him. And he talks all the time too about once you start changing that status quo and you start changing those beliefs and changing those ideas, it's like all of a sudden it's like you have this forward momentum. I mean, do you agree with that? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I do agree with that. And something that people have to realize, not to be too hard on themselves, because we are the sample of our experiences, of how we've lived, of our beliefs. Our beliefs impact our mindset. Our mindset impacts our beliefs. It's a continuous cycle. And when you're trying to transition and break away from that, you're essentially fighting who you are and changing all of these years of experience into something new. But once you do that, like he says, you really see this dramatic change, this shift in so many areas of your life for the positive.
So let me ask you, how long does it take to change and shift when you start working on your mindset? What are some of the key places you need to focus on?
I always get asked this question, and there is no one right answer. It really depends on the individual, right? Some folks are willing to work really hard at something. Some folks take a slower pace with what they're applying. And some folks, it takes them a little longer because they're resisting the entire way, right? So the common phrase that you hear is that it takes 21 days to develop a habit. That is a good start, but really at a minimum, I would say 3 months, because you have to continuously work at something, practice at something to make it a habit. And I think 3 months is a good starter point to cement those habits.
Yeah, I know I've done throughout my life, I've done something and it's like after a few weeks, I'm like, yeah, it's not working. It's not working. I'm done.
You gave up too quickly.
Yeah, I have definitely done that, through in my life where I'm like, screw this. It's not working. It's like, but I also think like we have this immediate gratification that we don't realize. We forgot that there is a consistency piece to it because we're used to being, I want that TV, I'm going to go buy it. I want this, I'm
yes.
those shoes, those clothes, whatever it is, I'm going to go buy it. And it's there, for God's sakes, Amazon's 2 days to get to you.
We're used to quick, fast delivery. We're used to, like you said, that instant gratification. And I will tell you, even though I am a mindset coach, I have my moments where I'm just like, this isn't working how I want it to. And I have to take a breath and remember, okay, practice what you preach. You know that it takes time to develop a habit. It takes time to do any real transitioning. And so you as the individual, if you're really wanting that change, if you're really grounded in your why, you're going to put in the work. You're going to spend the time that you need to spend to make it happen. A lot of folks quit early. I'm not sure if you've seen these like memes or photo images of somebody who's mining away.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then there's a thin wall between them and the diamonds, and they quit right there. You never know where that point is for you. So you want to continue.
I would like for you to, because I loved everything you just said, but I would like you to maybe explain a little bit deeper on the grounded in your why.
Yes, yes. So the why is something I talk about a lot, along with imposter syndrome, along with goal setting, because believe it or not, a lot of the topics people reach out to me for is around efficient goal setting. And if you think of goal setting, everything that you're doing in life when it comes to transition is a goal, right? It's some goal or idea that you want to achieve, that you want to change. And so to do that, you have to have a good enough why, to be grounded in your why. Your motivation and your willpower is only going to help you for so long, right? They're only going to provide that trajectory for your forward momentum for a period. So when that fades, what is left? It's your why. If you fully understand the reason why you're doing something, if it is a strong enough reason for you to move forward, then you will continue to move forward regardless of any challenges, obstacles, anything that comes in your path. You'll move beyond it because your why is that powerful.
Yeah. How would you suggest someone to get to their why?
Well, you ask a lot of whys. So think of it like a kid, right? So you're a child, right? And children ask a lot of questions, which is that innocence that we lose as adults. Say you're trying to set a goal for, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, that's pretty generic for some people. Okay, why do you want to lose 10 pounds? I want to lose 10 pounds to fit into my jeans. Okay, why do you want to fit into those jeans? So you continue to ask these whys to get to the root underlying cause of what that goal is, what that change or transition is. Because a lot of times when we aim for something or say we want something, it's very superficial and we leave it at that. And that superficiality is what prevents us from actually achieving that transition.
Yeah, I like that. I do. It's true. It's like it's not enough to get us. And the thing is, for me, when I've peeled back layers, it's that it's like, wow, is that even possible? Or somebody may look at me funny for that, or do you know what I'm saying? So there's definitely, to get to that why, there's going to have to be some belief changes around it if it scares
Well,
you.
not just that, but like you might think that what you wanted originally was what you wanted, but after you ask all these whys, it turns out it's a very entirely different reason in most cases. So that's why I ask folks, when you are aiming towards something, transition, change, goals, you want to first establish that why. And you establish that why by continuing to ask more whys of that need or that want.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes the end result may shock the bejesus out of you. Because I know I've had a couple things going, wow, I didn't even know it was, and that's absolutely okay. And there is no judgment and there is no, just allow it to be. And I know that when we're negative Nellies within ourselves, that affects so much. So are there some easy things to do to stop focusing on that negativity, on that voice that is kind of telling you, don't waste your time, don't bother, you're never going to get it. And I know, unfortunately, our environment plays a huge role in this. Do you agree with that?
I do. Your environment plays a role. Your relationships play a role. There might be folks who are not as supportive of you. They may know you in one capacity, and here you are changing how you interact and behave, maybe launching a business. And to them, it's different. And so they may not be as supportive. So it's your environment, it's the people you surround yourself with, and your own inner monologue.
Yeah.
But in terms of tips.
Yeah.
in terms of like how to address that, what I tell folks and what I do myself in my own practice, when a negative thought comes up, I try to be conscious and aware of my inner dialogue as often as I can. And when something comes up, I don't just let it go. I think about it. I actually focus on it and say, okay, why am I having this thought? Right? If it's something like, for example, if I'm getting dressed in the mirror and I feel like my jeans are a little too tight and my automatic thought is, you look fat in those jeans. Yeah. I would think, why am I saying that to myself? Why am I automatically going to the negative aspect of it? Why not instead reframe it? So you know what? These jeans look bomb on me because it's showing off my curves, right? So maybe I gained some weight, maybe not, maybe it's just perception. But instead of saying, oh, I'm fat in these jeans, I'm saying I like the way that it's shaping my curves. So I acknowledge the negative thought, I reframe it for the positive, but then the extra work you have to do is ask, why was that the first thought, that negative thought? Why did that come up? What is the underlying root cause beneath that? Because usually there is. And again, asking the whys will bring you to the root.
Wow. And then how do you, once you get to that root, how do you handle something like that? Because usually when you're going to that, you've got, there is the underlying issue, which could be self-worth, self-esteem, loving yourself. Because if you're quick to say, I look like crap and I look fat, and it's like,
Yes, there's something there. So I'm a big proponent of journaling. I love to journal because through journaling, I'm able to assess how I'm developing as an individual and even look back at some of those limiting beliefs and negative thought patterns. I can explore them further. So you can see a pattern and a development. But to combat the negative emotion or the negative thought, along with acknowledging it and reframing it, you want to continue. If it's something where it relates to your confidence or self-worth, you want to maybe practice affirmations, with loving yourself. You can practice meditation around the act of self-loving and self-worth. You can journal similarly to what I do, which allows me to see those patterns and further explore and break down these thoughts. That's when the work comes in. People think that just standing in the mirror and saying, I love myself is enough, or wishing for improvement in something is enough. It's not. You have to do actual tangible steps. And now those steps can be different based on the individual. For me, it's journaling. For me, it's the affirmations. For me, it's the self-care.
Yeah. And I really want to point out, self-care is so far past. I'm going to get a mani, a pedi, and a massage, which are all great. But the self-care is, for me, I think, is accepting ourselves in each moment without that judgment and being like, all right, so this is just a crappy moment and we'll get past this. And I love the journaling idea because I know you and I have spoken about journaling, and I love to journal myself. I've got books all over the place, all over, and it's true. It's like, you can't keep that positivity going without looking at that negativity or those feelings that you have around it, because that's just trying to put Band-Aids or bottle it up and cover it up. It's like you're trying to throw roses on poop, and that's just not gonna work.
You're basically treating the symptoms and not curing the root or healing the root, right? And I love the point you made about self-care, because when people say self-care, it's like, oh, 5 minutes of rest or a bubble bath or, mani-pedi, like you said. But self-care is more than that. There has to be awareness in self-care. And what I mean by that, take, for example, you taking a bubble bath, right? You could be in your bath, you have the music going and the lights, and you're on your phone scrolling. So what are you actually doing? Are you aware? Are you enjoying the present moment with yourself? You're not. That's not self-care because your mind is elsewhere. You're not focusing on where you need to be.
Yeah. It's true. It's this infernal phone where everybody's going and going. And when you don't want to deal, and I've actually caught myself doing it too, when I don't want to deal with something or I don't want to think about it, I'll go pick this up and scroll social media.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I'm like, what? And I'll catch myself and say, what are you doing?
We all do that.
And I have to put it down, and I'm like, all right, where are we with this? Because for
Mm-hmm.
bath time is like, I love it. I really do. Epsom
Mm-hmm.
salts, essential oils,
Yes.
and I do. The phone is nowhere in that room. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
I have a drink, I'll usually just in a candle, and I'll just sit and go, all right, you had a miserable day. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just allow that miserable day to be so that we could start fresh. Because I've noticed that when I try to ignore that voice or ignore those feelings, that's just trying to throw it in a garbage can with a top on it, and it's still festering. It's still rotting in there without you actually doing something about it.
Key point, festering and rotting. When you ignore and don't address those negative thoughts and feelings, you're actually giving them more power
Yeah.
because they'll continue to grow and grow and grow until eventually you reach a point where it's like, I have to. And usually that point is a negative occurrence. It could be something major. It could be, a blow up that you have. It could be something in your career, depending on what those negative emotions are.
Yeah. And it's saying you need to address this. This needs to be looked at. It is, it really is a mess with that, but it is so important to do that. The self-care is so important throughout all of this, because changing your mindset is not a 1, 2, 3 process. It is shit. It's not even daily. It can be a moment to moment, because I've been on
Mm-hmm.
days where I'm like, and please share your experience here as well. I've been days where it's been like, oh my God, and and I'm like, seriously, can we have a break now?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
it's mindset's way beyond, let me just say do one thing and I'm walking away. And it's not. It's an all day.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm. And let me tell you, I have those moments too because I am only human. I can have days where I'm out of it, where I don't want to, work on the things that I have to work on. I could go through depressive bouts. The only difference is, again, having that awareness to get back up, to move beyond it, move past it. And something I want to, make sure that folks are aware of there, of there, if you're not already, these feelings never go away. The negative thoughts are going to manifest and come up in some way, shape, or form. That's just the nature of who we are as humans and the fact that we have a brain to think and a thought process and thought pattern. And if you think about it, we as individuals, prehistorically, our genealogy taught us to be aware and look for danger, which is a negative. So we're always aware and put more focus on the negative because, in some way, shape, or form, it's impacting our lives. The only way we can combat that, though, is again by putting these positive rituals, positive habits into place as much as we can. But keep in mind, there's no cure all that prevents these thoughts, these patterns. All you can do is manage them, right? The more you manage, the more you can diminish the thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, I like that, because if you're not paying attention to what is going on, if you roll out of bed, jump in the shower and start your day without, like, for me, I have a daily ritual. I do something for myself in the morning, but when I miss that and I just go, it's like that whole day is on, let's push through, let's rush, I'm on the hamster wheel. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I need to get off that hamster wheel, to step back and say, all right, I didn't do anything for myself today. And how do I fix
Mm-hmm.
this? Or how do I just stop? Because when you're not present, I mean, especially for empaths, you just pick up even more. It's like it's
Yes.
this open thing saying, come on, I'm not paying attention to anything, but rushing to get to my next whatever, my next appointment or my next stop or my next whatever it is for that day.
And well, you mentioned the fact that you're an empath, right? And I have some of that too. And for empath, it's a little more difficult because you are feeling things that are outside of you, right?
Mhm.
So you have your own emotions to deal with. Then you have all these other aspects that are coming in that are feeding or draining of your energy. So even more so, if you're an empath, you have to find and build in these rituals, these moments where you can center yourself. Because otherwise, like you said, you're on a hamster wheel. It's go, go, go. It's just a frenzy.
Yeah. And also with empaths, and it's happened to me, is you'll pick up, because it's the antenna and the sensitivity, you pick up other people's thoughts and beliefs, and it's in your head rolling
Mm-hmm.
around, and you're just taking that on it as yourself too. So it's yes, there's a lot more to be done. It has to be a consistent practice. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what do you kind of tell your clients, or that you do yourself consistently, that helps with your mindset?
Well, one of the things that I, as mentioned earlier, that I advocate for is journaling, right? I feel that it doesn't have to be, writing a book. It can even be a simple line. It can be something as simple as what impacted you that day, something good that happened. Or if it's something negative, you can write down this situation occurred today, leave it at that, and come back later and really explore it and flesh it out. So, journaling is one of the things that I tell folks to do. I also ask them if they're open to it to incorporate meditation.
Mhm.
And meditation is a practice that some folks are resistant of because they think it's difficult. And it can be when you're starting because your mind is just all over the place. But if you put in the work, whether it's you by yourself or even with a professional, you'll find that it's so easy as time goes along and it's so beneficial because it helps you to get centered, to get focused, and to really work on your affirmations, the state of your mind, the conversation that you have with yourself, here and here. So, journaling, meditation, self care. We are so quick to be empathetic with others, to offer others help, to care for others, but we don't give ourselves the same kindness. So, building in adequate, genuine self care is another tip that I tell my clients. So, self
And
care, journaling, and meditation.
I do like when you say the kindness piece, because we're the first ones to rip ourselves up. And if somebody
Mm-hmm.
actually did that to me, I'd be like, bye, friend. So, it's amazing what we're willing to tolerate from ourselves. It
Mm-hmm.
really is. And I love that meditation. And you're right. People, I tell my clients too, they're like, I can't meditate. And I'm like, can you sit down with a cup of tea and watch the fire on the fireplace on YouTube channel for 15 minutes? And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. Or take a rock and paint it, or go outside and walk. I mean, these are all forms of, and then they're like, oh, I could do that.
Yes, there's
So
different types of meditation. Thank you for bringing that up. Folks think it's just like, and you're like sitting cross-legged on the floor. No, there's different ways to actually build in meditation.
yeah, because when I was trying to do Om, when I first started doing it years ago, I was like, these people are crazy. So, it took me a while, and I really do wish I had somebody like us talking about it, saying meditation doesn't have to look like this. It can look like
Yes.
whatever it is for you, that you can focus,
Mhm.
on that thing in front of you, just
Yes,
having a cup of
exactly.
tea in the fireplace, or a nature scene, or something else. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter,
Oh my
or
goodness, nature.
yeah. And sometimes when I get crazy, I'll just roll my chair around and start painting rocks and going, all right, my head is having a field day right now. We're in playtime, and nothing good's coming of this. So I completely need to stop everything I'm doing and refocus totally on something else.
Now, I'll let you mention that because, like I said, there's different ways to achieve a similar result. And really, you try to provide an example or a tool or resource that would fit the individual because we're all different and we all aspire for different things and want different things. But there are some things across the board that I feel are beneficial. And obviously, I offer that as a recommendation, like the three tips: the journaling, self care, and meditation. but there's also time in nature. For me as an individual, I feel that that connection, whether it's going on a hike or going into the woods for a walk, or if you're in an urban jungle, just go outside and go for a walk without your phone.
Yeah.
You'll find that that actually provides, serotonin. It provides a mood booster. It lets you focus on the inner, and you can address that monologue as you're going, on these walks, on these experiences.
Yeah. And I find when I'm on them, 90% of the time it just stops talking.
Mm-hmm.
90% of the time it just stops talking because I'm just so enthralled with whatever I am seeing or hearing. And yeah, if I do bring, because I like to take pictures, and I'll bring my phone, but it's like in my back pocket, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like I know we're not touching it only besides to take this picture. Like, I have strict parameters.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'll be stuffing at a bench, scrolling through my phone and missing the whole purpose of being there. So
Right. Well, you can take your phone, and that's fine, because safety can be a concern too.
yeah.
But if there's no reception, right? I mean, you can't really scroll social media or make phone calls. So taking photos is fine. You want to capture a moment or some beauty that you find. That's more than adequate. What we want to avoid is that present moment awareness, losing that by getting enthralled in your device.
Yeah, I love that talking about the present moment and being there and being focused on what's going on. I have found when I'm scrolling just to scroll, I'm trying to hide from something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd love for anybody out there who's got that phone, that phone addiction we all have. If there is not a purpose that you're doing something with your phone, then I would love for you to, see what is it you're hiding from. And God, I love doing journal prompts. Do you have a journal prompt or something that you would say to somebody, try this prompt and see what happens?
Well, one of the things that I go to first, always is journaling, is the gratitude. Because again, I feel that our mindset is impacted so much by our inner monologue, which is negative. So finding areas where you can really pull gratitude brings a little more kindness, to your life and to yourself. So I always ask folks, what is the one thing that you are grateful for today? And I don't mean the common standard, I have food, I have roof over my head, I have clothes. Like, we all have that. Really dig deep and think about what either happened in your day that makes you grateful, or something that you're experiencing that brings you that gratitude. And that will already kickstart a positive feel, a positive transition and shift.
That's pretty good. Because, people like, I'm grateful for my hubby, I'm grateful for this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that deeper,
No, it's not. Again, it's superficial. When you're at the superficial, there's no real change, right? Yeah. You want to get deep into that why, into that root, into that groundedness, right? Think of it like a tree. You want to find those roots.
Yeah, that's actually really good. And on that note, I would love for you to share where people can reach you, contact you.
Yeah, so my main platform is Instagram at the Fab Chiefess. I also have a website, www.thefabchiefess, which links to all of my socials: Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. I'm on all the things. Go find me.
You're on all the things is right. Wow, good for you. All right, guys, she has given us a lot of tools and tips to really start working on our mindset. And as always, please do what resonates with you, tweak it to make it your own, because we all are individuals. So do it. Journal, meditate, just be present and be with yourself and find that why. Find that why. Thank you so much, Evelyn, for joining us. And I really appreciate it. And guys, if you have any questions at all, we will definitely come back and check them out.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Trisha. This was so fun, as was our last call.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Have a good one.